Hey again, my friends. I'm going to continue reading Harry Potter. We're almost halfway through the book, and if we don't hurry, we're not going to get to finish it. So let's get this finished, okay? Harry's mouth fell open. Okay, so when we were reading the last time, they were sitting down at the table, and they had just made it into Gryffindor, the house Gryffindor in Hogwarts, in the school that they're in. The Dursleys had never exactly starved Harry, but he'd never been able to eat as much as he liked. Dudley had always taken anything that Harry really wanted, even if it made him sick. Harry piled his plate with a bit of everything except the peppermints and began to eat. It was all delicious. That does look good, said the ghost in rough, sadly watching Harry cut up his steak. Can't you? I haven't eaten for nearly 500 years, said the ghost. I don't need to, of course, but one does miss it. I don't think I've introduced myself. Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington, at your service, resident ghost of the Gryffindor Tower. I know who you are, said Ron suddenly. My brothers told me about you. You're nearly Headless Nick. I would prefer you call me Sir Nicholas de Mimsy, the ghost said stiffly, but sandy-haired Seamus Finnegan interrupted. Nearly headless? How can you be nearly headless? Sir Nicholas looked extremely miffed, as if their little chat wasn't going the way he wanted. Like this, he said irritably. He seized his left ear and pulled, and his whole head swung to the side, and it fell onto his shoulder as if it was on a hinge. Somebody had obviously tried to behead him, but hadn't done it properly. Looking pleased at the stunned looks on their faces, nearly headless Nick flipped his head back onto his neck and coughed and said, So, new Gryffindors. I hope you're going to help us win the house championship this year. Gryffindors have never gone so long without winning. Slytherins have got the cup 6 years in a row. The Bloody Baron's becoming almost unbearable. He's the Slytherin ghost. Harry looked at the Slytherin table and saw a horrible ghost sitting there with blank staring eyes, a gaunt face, and robes stained with silver blood. And he was right next to Malfoy, who, Harry was pleased to see, didn't look pleased with the seating arrangements. How did he get covered in blood? Said Seamus with interest. I've never asked, said nearly headless Nick delicately. When everyone had eaten as much as they could, the remains of the food faded from the plates, leaving them sparkling clean. A moment later, the desserts appeared. Blocks of ice cream in every flavor you could eat, apple pies, treacle tarts, chocolate eclairs, and jam donuts, trifle, strawberries, jello, rice pudding. As Harry helped himself to a treacle tart, the talk turned to the families. I'm half and half, said Seamus. My dad's a muggle. Mum didn't tell him she was a witch until after they were married. It was a bit of a nasty shock for him. The others laughed. What about you, Neville? Said Ron. Well, my gran brought me up. She's a witch, said Neville, but my family thought I was all muggle for ages. My great-uncle Algie kept trying to catch me off my guard and force some magic out of me. He pushed me off the end of the Blackpool Pier once, and I nearly drowned, but nothing happened until I was 8. Great-uncle Algie came around for dinner, and he was hanging me out of an upstairs window by my ankles when my great-auntie Enid offered him a meringue, and he accidentally let go. But I bounced all the way down to the garden and into the road. They were all really pleased. Gran was crying, she was so happy. And you should have seen their faces when I got in here. They thought I might not be magic enough to come, you see. Great-uncle Algie was so pleased that he bought me my toad. On Harry's other side, Percy Weasley and Hermione were talking about lessons. I do hope they start right away. There's so much to learn. I'm especially interested in transfiguration, turning something into something else. Of course, it's supposed to be very difficult. You'll be starting small, just turning matches into needles and that kind of thing. Harry, who was starting to feel warm and sleepy, looked at the high table again. Hagrid, who was drinking deeply from his goblet. Professor McGonagall was talking to Professor Dumbledore. Professor Quirrell, in his absurd turban, was talking to a teacher with greasy, thin black hair, a hooked nose, and sallow skin. It happened very suddenly. The hook-nosed teacher looked past Quirrell's turban, straight into Harry's eyes, and a sharp, hot pain shot across the scar on Harry's forehead. Ouch, he said, and he clapped a hand to his forehead. What is it? Said Percy. Nothing. The pain had gone as quickly as it had come. Harder to shake off was the feeling Harry had gotten from the teacher's look, a feeling that he didn't like Harry at all. Looks like my video is frozen up a little bit here.